Sorry for the delay, folks. I'd like to call this meeting to order. Please join me in the salute to the flag. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Well, that's the answer. I need somebody missing on either side of me not to block the flag. That always makes me crazy. Roxanne, would you call the roll?
Mrs. Davis?
Here.
Mr. Dombrowski?
Here.
Mrs. Ingalls?
Here.
Mr. Malone?
Here.
Mr. Marshall?
Here.
Mrs. McGrattan?
Here.
Mr. Sebelia?
Here.
Mr. Soms? Mr.
On the train.
Washington. He should be
Here.
here any minute. 8 here, 1 absent.
Are there any residents or property owners wish to speak at this time?
It's me again. Julie DuPont Woody, 770 Long Cove Road, Gales Ferry, Connecticut. I just wanted to say thank you to everyone who came out to our conservation conversations a couple of Saturdays ago. Mr. Malone, Mr. Sebelia, Mr. Washington, Mayor Allen.
I'm clicking
We
the
had
timestamp, but I'm not sure
over
if it's working.
65 people come out on the hike, including our legislators. We had a lot of families
See, on the
and
other program,
kids
I
on the
would
hike.
get to watch the video.
It was
right here,
the
but I
largest conservation
right here,
conversations
view
event
video.
in the state by
I got
far.
it.
And
There it is.
this shows the support that our town has for open space, for the Great Oak Greenway, for expanding the Great Oak Greenway, and support for how open space gets funded. And I was very proud of our community. The Nathan Lester House property was beautiful. Thank you to the Historic Commission. It was a great day. I appreciate you all hiking with me in the heat. I know it was hot. But I think that we all had a good time. I hope that everyone learned something and enjoyed the property. So thank you very much.
Thank you. You're welcome here anytime. Any other property owners wish to speak?
Hi, Nate Woody, 770 Long Cove Road, also chair of Ledyard Planning and Zoning. So a little bit of advertising. So the Planning and Zoning Commission is in the process of updating the town's POCD, which is the Plan of Conservation Development, which is our long-term master planning document. And so we're far enough along in that process that we're looking for any public input. So we will be having a public workshop section at our next 2 meetings, which will be tomorrow night, the 25th, 7 p.m. this location, also August 22nd. And so we'll have a session of the meeting. It's in the agenda if someone wants to come and talk about it. It's a workshop, it's not a public hearing, which means anyone can come and talk informally. The commission can respond and talk to you. And so it is just very informal information collecting. Take a look at what's in the current POCD, ask us any questions about why things are in there, and we'll take that input on board and move forward. Information just for this commission. When we have that finalized, that will come to you guys. So you guys have to act on that. There is a timing deadline. So the Planning and Zoning Commission will schedule a public hearing. We will give it to you 60 days ahead of that public hearing. So you guys have 60 days to act on that before the public hearing. And because of how that, sort of that timing works, and that's in statute, so that's not something that we get to choose at. It has to be done this way. Because of how timelines got done, we're really working to get that done this year. So you guys should expect that document coming to you guys sometime in September. Okay, thank you very much.
Nate?
Thank you.
Yes.
Could you do me a favor, because I think I would like to promote that
Yes.
on our forum?
Absolutely.
Would you send me like a little blurb?
Definitely.
And I will post that so we can get, well, as much to get people in the community involved.
Absolutely.
And as much as when somebody says, I didn't know anything about it. So that'll kill two birds
Absolutely. Yeah,
with one stone.
I'll include a link to the current document.
Good.
And a shortened blurb, so instead of just, sending 50-page documents to
Yes.
everybody. So I'll do that and include the dates.
That'd be great.
Great,
Thank you. Any questions for Nate while he's here? No? Okay. Any
Thanks.
other committee commission, or are there any committee commission board reports? I actually should go back and say, are there any other resident property owners? And now, any committee commission and board reports? Comments of town councilors to the left. Nobody? To my right? Yes.
Two things. One is farmer's market. I'm just amazed how big it's gotten and the efforts that all the volunteers have been doing, and it's really showing for their efforts. I've had people at work who don't live in town kind of compare it to Basra when they've come to it, so that's a great thing. And the other thing is the Lester House. Having lived in Ledyard since the 70s and been to the Lester House probably twice, mostly for camping and stuff, and never hiked that trail. That was a phenomenal hike. It was a great hike, and they're just doing a wonderful job, and it's kind of like a jewel in the town that's not enough people are looking at. I've had an individual ask me about the trail itself. Is it suitable for a trail run? And I said it would be. I don't run that far as far as I'm concerned, but it would probably be great for a trail run. And it's probably one of those deals where people who have run the trail don't tell other people because then it gets a crowded trail. But get the word out there. It's a great hike, and it's going to get even better as they're able to extend it.
Any other comment? I have a couple. The market, your comment about the market, I will send your comment off to the rest of the committee or to the committee. The Basra reference is in interest because many years ago, and Fred, you'll remember this, we talked about, hey, we can do this, we can be as good as Basra. Because Basra was always the jewel in the area. Well, today we discovered that we actually have more vendors than Basra does. So that was kind of fun to find out. And you can measure the success. The bacon truck.
Oh, my goodness.
That was a long wait.
Miles making bacon ran out of bacon.
Yes.
Now that goes to say we like our food. And somebody did say I have a complaint. My only complaint, in fact it was Steve Eichelberg, he said my only complaint, there's no room under the pavilion. There were no table spaces left. So it's.
Thought he was going to say there's no coffee.
I'd like to say there's no Dunkin' Donuts at the farmer's
That's right,
market.
that's right.
Coming soon.
Okay, I just got a email from Superintendent Hartling that the school grand opening has been set. The ribbon cutting, it's not a grand opening, well, it kind of is, I guess. Ribbon cutting will be for Gallup Hill School will be August 19th at 6 p.m. and the Ledyard Middle School August 20th at 6 p.m. And we'll get formal announcements about that. And then finally, my comment about iCompass. I started playing around with it today, and some of you know that my handicap with IQM2 has always been, I use an iPad. And I was not able to sign on to Minute Maker with the iPad, so I could never make comments or anything like that. Well, I discovered today that iCompass has an app. And so now I can make all those little comments and everything as well. So that's nice to know that they're in the technology age that we're in today. So, and that's all I have. Let's see, I'll entertain a motion for minute approval of July 10th.
So moved.
Second.
Motion's made and seconded. Any comments, corrections? Roxanne, would you call the roll?
Mr. Sebelia?
Yes.
Mr. Washington?
Yes.
Mrs. Davis?
Yes.
Mr. Dombrowski?
Yes.
Mrs. Ingalls?
Yes.
Mr. Malone?
Yes.
Mr. Marshall?
Yes.
Mrs. McGrattan?
Yes.
8 in favor, 0 opposed.
Motion carries. Communications, referrals in the portal. Subcommittee liaison reports. Admin.
Admin has the ordinance updates. We have a motion later on the agenda tonight. That's really it.
Okay, any questions for admin? Finance.
Finance held a special meeting this evening at 6 o'clock, and the motion is on the agenda for tonight to act on.
Okay, any other questions? We have land use.
Land use is not met from report.
Okay. Any other committee reports? That covers it. Liaison reports? Yes, Mary.
I went to the senior commission meeting this afternoon, and I was in awe. For those of you who have been around a long time, the relationship between Parks and Rec and the senior commission has been difficult. And now, all of a sudden, and this didn't just happen overnight, but it's been in the works for 2 years, Parks and Rec is now going to be located down at the senior center, and they will be running the operation, the whole Parks and Rec senior programs out of that building. and it happened, it was just marvelous, and there wasn't one shot fired. Everything just went smoothly. I mean, it was just great. And I'm sure the mayor will embellish it a little more
You sound
during
pleasantly
his
disappointed.
report. It's like,
Yeah,
wow.
people were all going there to see the shots being fired.
Yes, and there was
Where
nothing.
they come at it.
It was really well done, well done. I'm sure it's going to work out perfectly.
Very good. John, you had your hand up, I think.
Yeah, the police department made the headlines again, the building committee agenda. They were testing the generator a few weeks back, I'm not sure the date, and it messed up some of the elevator electronics. What we think happened is when you run some off the generator, the voltage isn't always clean coming in.
It's dirty now.
It's dirty power. So we're thinking that something got messed up because of the generator, so we're looking to do a battery backup on that. We didn't think we needed one because we had a generator, but now we do, and that's gonna cost about 18 grand. Fortunately, there's, expensive batteries, huh?
Well, hold on, make a suggestion, maybe go look to see what a power filter would be cheaper.
That's typically you go to the APC or power filter.
Right, go with the power filter
kind of
to
converter.
clean the power, to clean the power
Clean
going
it up
off the
nice.
generator, that might be a cheaper option.
Especially with all the electronics they got in it.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, we'll bring that up. Now I lost my track. So that's that.
Sorry, Doc.
Moving on, that's good. Moving on to the schools, the fire marshal still has quite a list of items he needs addressed before he can issue a CO, or before he can sign off on his part of the CO. But ONG is working on that. To be honest with you guys, I'm not real impressed at this point. We're 3 months behind with the substantial completion date. The kids are coming, whether it's done or not, so he's got to figure out something. Maybe hold back some money, get them where it counts, figure out something. I don't know what's going on with that. The track and field contract's being reviewed right now by Castle Booze. The plans and work scope are being developed, and we're scheduled to start in early fall. I'm working on something with Steve Maslin, the public works director, to keep some of that topsoil in town. There's a value there. It'll save us money on that end, because we don't have to ship it out of town, and we can use it somewhere. We don't have to buy it. It's already ours. We own it. It's ours. We just have to pay to get it from the high school to wherever we can store it. Not sure how many yards are there, but it's quite a bit. Too much to just throw away. And that's my report.
Thank you. Any questions for John? Any other liaison reports? Hearing none, report of the mayor.
All right, so Mary has a cake ready for everybody for the senior center meeting today. It went extremely well. I was really, really pleased with how it was received. It's a big move, and anytime, as you know, anytime you make a change, change is scary, and I offered the options. I offered 3 different options on what we could do to continue either with the senior center or without the senior center. And our best option was to bring Parks and Rec in and do, have their offices there and do their best to bring back the vitality of the center. And I have, after the senior center meeting, I met again with the Parks and Recs people, and they're actually really, really excited about this. So they're looking forward to it. They're looking forward to working with the seniors. They're looking forward to increasing programming. They've got a ton of ideas already. The ideas are flowing like crazy. So I'm looking for really good things out of that. So that's going to work out really nicely, and they will relinquish their space over at the Board of Ed building, and that works out well for the Board of Ed because they have a need for some additional office too. As Councilor Marshall alluded to, the school project is a source of some gray hair, or maybe even some loss of hair, with 26 working days left before the students come back to school. They have a punch list that's pretty long. They still have a number of systems that need to be tested out, including the fire alarm system that isn't even ready to be tested. So there's a lot going on there, and they really have to put the foot on the gas pedal to finish. And as Councilor Marshall said, I think that ONG started off like a ball of fire, and they did a tremendous job. But at the tail end of the project, I think they've left a little bit to be desired. As Julie Woody stated, I did attend the Connecticut Trails Day at the Nathan Lester House. That was a fantastic event. It was, I think, done extremely well because of Julie's efforts. She did a great job. I brought my family, and we were all grateful that we went with Julie on the fast track because Nate was the slow track, and I think we did the whole thing, came back, had some treats and some drinks, and left before the slow track people came back. So that went well. American Ambulance update for you. We got our June data, is actually received today. 74 calls for service in June. There were 9 cover calls, 0 missed calls, and the average response time was 9 minutes and 5 seconds. So things continue to go very, very well. We're hovering just above the 9-minute mark consistently, and I will have an annual report for you from a full year of data collected in Ledyard. I expect in the next couple weeks I will have that report, and it will be a PDF, so I will attach it to the agenda, and you can look at it ahead of that. Our events magazine is on track for distribution the week of December 9th. So by mid-November, we have to have all our content into the publishers. We're going to be sending out preliminary notices to the various departments to start gathering various snippets and what the requirements are in the way of content, the word count, maximum word count per snippet, and photographic information, what they're looking for on that. But I'm looking forward to seeing that come together. That's going to be a great publication that's going to, people are going to keep that around the house until the next one comes in. I do have a need for a couple representatives for SQUA. We had one representative for SQUA and myself, and I will tell you I have not attended any of those meetings. They meet one Thursday a month in Montville. We had a representative that was going. However, the representative just came to my office and said, "Oh, I'm moving out of the country, so I can no longer be on SQUA." And I said, "Yeah, it makes sense." So we do need somebody for that. It's a light commitment, but it would be a representative for Ledyard's behalf for the SQUA water system that is in Ledyard. And then lastly, Friday evening, we have an Eagle Scout reception for a young Eagle Scout named Jack Mello. He built a very nice bench down in front of the senior center. If you're facing the senior center doors on the left side, there's a bench on the right, but on the left it's a handmade one. He did a really great job, so if anybody wants to join us Friday at 6 p.m. for cake, hors d'oeuvres, and punch, we are going to have a little reception ceremony for Jack and the bench that he built. And that is all I have for tonight.
Any questions for the mayor? Moving on. Old business, there is no old business. Does anyone wish to amend the agenda under new business? Finance Committee.
I make a motion to authorize repairing R11 using Navistar parts and sell the truck with a 1-year warranty.
Second.
Motion's made and seconded. Discussion.
Okay, so this is probably the first time some of you here are hearing this, so was pretty good news to us, or pretty new news to us. The Ledyard Fire Department R11 engine/tanker, is what they used to bring water to the fire, is down. It's down because there's a design flaw in the engine, in the EGR cooler, where this is known, and many other fire departments have had the same exact problem. So it's kind of tainted goods. And so we're trying to get it fixed and have Navistar do the repair as a courtesy repair because it's past its 5-year warranty. They pretty much have agreed to that. We just have to get it to do it in writing and give us a 1-year warranty. And then when we say sell the truck, we really are more looking towards this motion today to just give us some time to make a better decision, because this is about a $750,000 tag, sale price on this thing, we bought a new one. So we're gonna need some time. The mayor and the chief man have agreed to, and I think it's a good idea, to form a focus group once we get this thing repaired, use that time now to figure out what we need and see if we can't, what's the value of this truck is the other thing is, it's known tainted goods. So we're probably not gonna get the real value of the truck. What's an acceptable value? We've had some minimum offer from the people we bought it from, which I'm not even gonna make a presentation about that, because it's just, it's a real low offer. But at this point, we're just trying to get an engine back on the road. Additionally, aside from this issue, the other engine in Ledyard is also down, because they have a ruptured tank on it. So we're without an engine right now, and in Ledyard, there's one in Gales Ferry. So they're borrowing a tanker, or an engine rather, from Mashantucket Tribe. They need their engine back next week because they have a maintenance issue that they have to deal with in their fleet. So for the time being, until we get R11 back on the road, and then eventually R13, which is the other engine, we are essentially single point failure for our engine tanker with R21 in Gales Ferry as our only tanker / engine in the town. So that's why we're trying to get this fixed for nothing. It's never going to be for nothing, but they're going to drive it up there to West Hartford where the dealership is, get the repair done, and it all depends on when they can fit us in for the repair. So it's not going to happen overnight. We're trying to be optimistic and say a month to get our lift back. It may be 2, it may be 3. We don't know what the dealership's current schedule is right now. So Russ Shaw, Chief Man, and the mayor are all working together to expedite that repair at this point, and then move forward with the focus group on how we're going to meet the town's needs for a reliable engine tanker in the town.
Any questions?
So you're saying after it gets repaired, it's still iffy?
Well, it's a known design problem.
But if you're going to repair it, that doesn't take care of that?
Well, some claim that once you repair it, it just comes up again in 2 to 3 years.
Oh.
We've done some external research. For instance, New London has an identical truck. The same issue happened to them with this EGR cooler. The same issue they had a repair done in 2016. It's been running fine since 2016. Boston, on the other hand, has 23 of these trucks. They've had 12 of them go down with the same issue. They've had the repair done with the same, free 1-year warranty, and about one, I think the research said 1 of the 12 has had a recurring issue. So even repaired, there may be some defect in the overall design. And so repaired, we probably have a 1 in 12, 1 in 10 chance of it recurring again within 2 years.
So what did you, in your long-term, what was the plan for that truck? How long was it going to last?
It was going to be retired in
2033.
23?
2033.
2030.
Oh.
Right. So yeah, it's only, we only bought it in 2013. It's only 6 years old. So it's not it's not a use issue. It's a design defect.
How much, just out of curiosity, if we didn't have on the defect, what would it cost, what's this gonna cost technically for replacing that motor? If we were paying out of pocket, any idea?
I don't even want to ask.
Because I'm just thinking,
They had estimates $50,000, $75,000.
because just thinking.
For the same motor.
For the same motor to be
Yeah.
repaired, or just replaced with the same motor?
To be replaced. And if you could also go with a different engine, a Cummins.
Yeah.
Do
That was
they have
gonna
to
go
lift the body off the truck? to
Yeah, so the
change
Cummins, to go to the Cummins diesel, you have to remount the motor mounts, and there's all the electronics have to change, and that was upwards of $100,000 to go to that. So, but just going back to this motion, I thought from the Finance Committee tonight that the original motion was to repair the truck, period.
Right.
I didn't think that it continued with and sell the truck with a 1-year warranty, but correct me if I'm wrong, Finance Committee members.
No, when I lined this out, we friendly amended this in finance, and we missed that part where it says
right.
Okay.
and sell. So if
right.
somebody wants to make a friendly amendment to this, now, I
So,
think we
so
can-
that's supposed to come out too.
Yeah, I believe what came out of the Finance Committee meeting was authorize repairing R11 using Navistar parts, and then they would provide us with a one-year warranty on that repair at such time as, once that truck is repaired and back to us, the fire department and the Finance Committee can then reconvene if they choose and determine what's the best path forward at that point.
Right. So I'm happy to make the friendly amendment that we strike from the motion that would sell the truck.
So the first and second agree, and we're good with that. Any other questions? I'm sure somebody asked this, but with the one truck only in Gales Ferry, so if that truck is out in Gales Ferry and something happens in Ledyard, what's our backup?
It's mutual aid.
The other thing we also kicked around was leasing a truck for a month or two at about $4,000 a month. I don't think we're there yet, but we're looking at that option as well, just to provide some, you know, some backup in the plan. But we didn't really make, at that point, it really wasn't that part of the agenda, it was special meetings. We really couldn't move on that.
And we're grateful, I think we should say we're grateful to Mash and Chuckins for allowing us to
Absolutely.
Yes.
for that
Yes,
long.
thank you.
And the truck isn't gonna be that far away either.
Well, that's true.
Because of mutual aid, we've got sub-base, we've got Gales Ferry as our own, we've got Norwich.
Pequonic Bridge, or Pocatonic, I'm sorry, Pocatonic.
Very good. Any other questions? Roxanne, would you call the roll, please?
Mr. Soms?
Yes.
Mr. Washington?
Yes.
Mrs. Davis?
Yes.
Mr. Dombrowski?
Yes.
Mrs. Ingles?
Yes.
Mr. Malone?
Yes.
Mr. Marshall?
Yes.
Mrs. McGrattan?
Yes.
Mr. Sebelia?
Yes.
9 in favor, 0 opposed.
Motion carries. Under general items, review and discuss the ordinance update project. Andrea, you want to tell us where we're at?
So we still have, there are still a handful of ordinances that still need to be looked at. But what we decided to do is move forward with the edits that we have, and the ones that still need to be looked at, for example, the blight ordinance still needs to come through admin. So we're moving forward with it in sort of an as-is condition so that we can do the renumbering and make the other formatting edits that we want to make to them as a group, knowing that there are still a handful that need to be refined. And we already, like, nothing has really changed on that since we looked at them together in the Roxanne's amazing organized
And we
listing.
did meet with the town attorney, so we know we're in good shape
Yeah.
there as far as the renumbering and some of the broad changes. So with that in mind, would you like to make a motion on number 3?
Sure. So I move that we set a public hearing date on August 28th, 2019 at 6 PM in the council chambers, 741 Colonel Ledyard Highway, to receive comments and recommendations regarding the following. Please don't tell me I have to read all of this.
Yes.
No.
Yeah, it's just that motion to,
Just the motion.
1 and
Not the
2.
vote.
Oh,
Just the one and
Just
two.
1 and
Okay.
2.
Not the mild
Goodness. Thank you. Because we're going to be here for half an hour. Okay. 1, proposed new ordinance, an ordinance regarding the formatting, maintenance, and numbering of ordinances for the town of Ledyard as contained in the draft dated May 20th, 2019. And 2, proposed ordinance update initiative, which includes proposed amendments to the town's 154 ordinances.
Second.
Motion's made and seconded. Any comments, discussion?
Tremendous amount of work.
Yeah, it was. You know, the hope is, the meeting is public hearing is at 6. It could take longer, depending on whether any folks come out in some way, I'm sure. The idea may be that August 28th could be one of the meetings we cancel. You know how we sometimes cancel meetings during the summer. So it would be very convenient if August 28th was a regular, we could cancel our regular meeting and then just have the public hearings. But we'll see how that goes. So, Roxanne, would you call the roll?
Mr. Washington?
Yes.
Mrs. Davis?
Yes.
Mr. Dombrowski?
Yes.
Mrs. Ingles?
Yes.
Mr. Malone?
Yes.
Mr. Marshall?
Yes.
Mrs. McGrattan?
Yes.
Mr. Sebelia?
Yes.
Mr. Soms?
Yes.
9 in favor, 0 opposed.
Motion carries, and I will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved?
Second.
Meeting is adjourned.